The University of Minnesota's Child Development Program is warning about a whiteness pandemic and offering advice on how to reverse it. But first, obviously, what is a whiteness pandemic? Well, a page on the university's website says whiteness refers to culture, not biology. The centuries-old culture of whiteness features colorblindness, passivity, and white fragility, which are all covert expressions of racism common in the United States. The webpage then offers steps for how to halt and reverse the whiteness pandemic. Explaining this, if you were socialized into the culture of whiteness during childhood, oh, not to worry, it's not your fault. But as an adult, it is now your responsibility to self-reflect, re-educate yourself, and act. A University of Minnesota spokesperson told Fox News Digital in a statement that the school is, quote, steadfast in its commitment to the principles of academic freedom.
Man, I swear I've been doing a lot of videos on Minnesota, but it seems as though there's just a lot of nonsense happening over there. So let's talk about this. A whiteness pandemic, according to the University of Minnesota, is what's happening in the United States, which is absolutely ridiculous. They're trying to throw out big words to confuse people like white fragility, which, for those of you who don't know what that is basically when a white person gets mad or gets scared, or in the leftist term, gets triggered when somebody brings up the conversation about racism, which nobody is talking about racism anymore. Nobody truly believes that racism is a problem in this country, except leftist lunatics and these terrible leftist universities that are a complete waste of money because they're teaching courses like this. But let's hear what else this news coverage has to say.
Joe Concha, I see that as we provide a place where any extreme viewpoint will in fact be offered, but not offering an association with that viewpoint.
Well said. Who wrote that? Joy Reid? I mean, where did this come? It's so racist. It's insane. A whiteness pandemic. It sounds like a disease that's in search of a cure. And apparently the only way to do that is to re-educate yourself by joining, according to the website, Black Lives Matter, which is only one of the most corrupt organizations around. So it's not a surprise this is happening in Minnesota, though. This is the same place where you could go into my son's fourth grade bathroom in an elementary school and find a tampon machine. So that's Minnesota for you these days.
Oh, my goodness. Whenever the stories get all like mealy-mouthed, I know exactly what it's all about. Because whenever you can't really understand this vague verbiage, you know that it's just fluff rather than rooted in reality.
Yeah, well, and Joe's right. I mean, it is blatantly racist, and it's not enough for the school to come out or the program to say, well, it's rooted in culture and not in biology. No, that's not going to cut it, because imagine that these comments, these statements were made about literally any other race in the United States. This is only acceptable to say about white people. That's the fact here. And quite frankly, this should result in a civil rights investigation from the Trump department.
They are absolutely right that this is racist, 100%. To say that it's not your fault that you were born white, but it is your responsibility as a white adult to re-educate yourself on whatever the nonsense that they're trying to teach you in this ridiculous class makes no sense at all. And I guarantee you, if anyone else had a class like this and said the Black pandemic or an Asian pandemic or any other race pandemic, people would be shouting from the rooftops how racist these people are. But because it's a white class on white privilege, quote unquote white privilege, or white pandemic, everybody's saying that's okay. Yep, yeah, those whites, there's something wrong with them. They need to be, you should have white guilt. You shouldn't be happy that you're a white person. You need to be sorry for the things that somebody did when you weren't even alive. It makes no sense. And I can almost guarantee you, I can't guarantee you, but I bet you like 99% that this is a white liberal who made this class and is going to be teaching it. I like 99% guarantee that that's who it is. And I guarantee they're going to try to talk about slavery and how whites were so bad in slavery. You're right. Slavery was terrible. But remember, the whites weren't the only ones with slaves. The whites weren't the ones that went over to Africa and just said, I'm taking all your people. Guess who gave the whites slaves? The other Africans. There were tribes that would fight amongst each other over there, and one tribe would take another tribe and use them as slaves and sell them to the white man for goods. It wasn't just the white man saying, okay, I'm just coming over here and rounding everybody up, and it's all the black people are saying, no, don't do this. No, the black tribes members were selling the other black tribes members. How does nobody understand that? And there was slavery all across the world, not just white on black. There was Indians that had slaves. There were white people that had slaves. There were black people that had slaves. And I can tell you one thing, white people are the ones that got rid of slavery, because there is still slavery in today's world in other countries. I guarantee you, none of them are white people that are having these slaves. Go look it up yourself. It's so frustrating how people try to put this guilt on white people when it's not just white people. You can have racism any which way. You can be black and be racist. You can be Asian and be racist. You can be white and be racist. Yes, there is racism in the world, but this is not something we should be teaching the people in our colleges that are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to a Division I college to be taught this nonsense.
From the Trump Justice Department. This is a school that received $600 million in federal grants just last year. Wow. Why are we, the American taxpayer, funding programs like this? That's my question. So I would like to see the Justice Department get serious about rooting out these sorts of ideologies from American taxpayer-funded universities.
Yeah, because rhetoric matters, Carly. So them just saying, oh, it's not about biology, we mean it's this cultural thing to try to distance themselves, what is blatantly hate language, hate directed at an entire group of people, won't cut it. It certainly won't pass legal muster.
Yeah, and if I read the story and didn't know what university it came from, I probably would have guessed University of Minnesota.
Or Oregon.
Yeah, right, exactly. Going back to the previous topic, Oregon as well, a state where the governor is somebody who famously said one man's socialism is another man's neighborliness. So state liberal with a capital L, or I guess S for socialism. And, you know, this is also, though, the good news is that people do have choices when it comes to where they go to college, and it's why so many kids are now going to Southern schools, because they don't want to deal with this anymore. I am a little bit surprised about the lean in still to the identity politics situation. You would think that most people of this political persuasion would have thought when they saw the results of the 2024 presidential election that that was a denial of that type of thinking. But in many instances, including the mayor of Seattle, who just won, they're leaning into it even more.
Yeah, Julie, remember during the height of sort of 2020 and that whole portion when people were paying other people to educate them and to re-educate them and to integrate them and do all those things that this thing was explaining, saying like, you know, how I need to essentially buy tools of how to comport with this very damaging ideology that essentially says no matter what you do, simply by existing, you are part of the problem. What's going on with schools?
I mean, it's the liberalism which exists in schools, which is basically making people apologize for being born the way they were. I mean, God forbid that you're born one gender. God forbid that you're born white. I mean, the fact that on the website it says if you were socialized into the culture of whiteness during childhood, it is not your fault. Wait, I'm sorry, what? So you're telling white people that it's your fault or it's not your fault for being born white. You can fix that. And then Black Lives Matter, I mean, I'm so glad you brought that up, is such a corrupt organization. They are behind so much crime in this country and so much unrest. And you're telling me that's the way to go? That's the positive influence that we want to teach our youth? Because this is where you're seeing it in universities and colleges and teachers teaching your friend's child that she is a they. I mean, it's insanity that the education system has this much power. And I do believe that the Trump administration should absolutely look into it.
Well, and one quick point with this program, it's not just geared towards college students, it's geared toward young children. Going off of one of our previous segments, it's geared towards parents of young children in order to help those children, quote unquote, develop a healthy white racial identity, which apparently the only healthy identity, according to this program, is one that hates yourself for simply being born white. That's incredibly toxic, and yet that's what the left wants to push on young children.
Ugh, frightening.
And these people that are trying to say that white people should feel bad for being born white and should recondition themselves and relearn how to live in society are the same people that are trying to say that if you're born a boy, you can be a girl, or if you are born a girl, you can be a boy, or they're trying to put boys into girls' sports or boys into girls' locker rooms or bathrooms. These are the insane ideas of these leftist lunatics. And I honestly believe that we need to study a leftist lunatic brain, put it in put it in a science lab and see what makes them think of these insane ideas. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you think about this story down in the comment section. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.